What's poppin' PP Nation? Today we are reviewing a video game movie. This one is Return to Silent Hill. This one is based off of Silent Hill 2, the PS2 video game as well as the PS5 remake. Both masterpieces, by the way. So I know people were very apprehensive about this movie, especially when the photos came out. It looked like a dollar store Silent Hill, or like I downloaded the wrong Silent Hill type of thing. But surprisingly, I will say, a lot of the visuals were not that bad. I will say too, some of the sets were really well made. A lot of places looked exactly like the video game, and I thought some of that was really well done. I thought they did a pretty good job recreating a lot of the classic monsters, and they had some pretty neat, somewhat original designs in there as well. I guess that's all the good I have to say for now. Look, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. This movie was kind of dog shit. We can't get too into what we didn't like about this movie, so we're gonna get into spoilers at the end of the video, but for now we'll keep it spoiler free.
Yeah, this movie was a hot piece of shit. I hated every second of it. It's so hard to think of things that I liked. I was going into this movie with an open mind. I didn't really see a lot of like reviews or anything. Honestly, I didn't even see anything. I just know from people on Reddit like talking that the trailer and the pictures that came out looked like hot shit. It looked like a porno, and I agreed. It looked horrible. And I would meme with Sergio. I would send him memes and be like, man, this movie looks like shit. It's gonna be shit. And honestly, I didn't want it to be shit, but it's garbage. It's probably the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. I was so bored. I was so disappointed. And this movie has nothing to do with Silent Hill 2. If you love Silent Hill 2, if you're a fan of that video game, this movie is gonna offend you like nothing else. But what I liked about this movie, maybe the cinematography, it was pretty okay. The first Silent Hill movie was directed by the same fucking loser that directed this movie. And honestly, back then I was like, okay, this is not bad. This is actually a pretty decent movie, and he did a decent job. I mean, I'm probably one of the few people that actually really liked the first Silent Hill movie. So with this movie, with Return to Silent Hill, I thought that maybe he was gonna have, like a continuation of that old movie, like maybe have some similar themes, at least, right? If it's not gonna follow the fucking video game story, at least make it continue with his movie. But this man he lost the sauce. He lost every single passion that he had. Not only is everything a CGI and made by a fucking clanker, but like before he would have practical effects. The acting wasn't as obnoxious. He actually tried to follow the vibes of the fucking video game. This movie,
This movie feels like Christoph Gans read the spark notes while taking a shit right before he stepped out to film the scene, and dude just winged it. As a fan of the games, I know what the story is. I know what he's doing. But watching the movie through the perspective of someone that doesn't know the story, it just feels like he's running through random bullshit through Silent Hill. You don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to anything. It's just like, oh, remember this from the game? Remember this part from the game? This part from the game? It's just, just the most important parts of the game just all smashed together. But it's not coherent at all. But to comment on what you were saying earlier, I don't think the cinematography is all that. I think the best shots come from the video game. But other than that, I don't think the shots frame or set the tone for what the movie should be going for.
No, yeah, you're right. Because the first time that he arrives at the hotel or whatever, there's a scene where he's just like stumbling like a fucking idiot all over the place, and he's just like flashing the bright ass flashlight at the fucking camera, bro. That shit. Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, careful. Anyone watching this movie in the theaters, especially, make sure to bring your sunglasses because dude's gonna flash the camera so hard. But yeah, I'm telling you, the best camera shots in this movie come from the video game. But other than that, it's shot very, very average. There's so much we want to say, but it'll start getting to spoiler territory, so we'll just give our final scores now, then get into spoilers. This is genuinely one of the worst video game adaptations I've seen, and not in a good way. This is the type of bad that gets you bored and just a little bit angry, which is not fun. It's not the fun bad. It's not the fun bad like the set photos make it out to be, like a porno parody fun movie bad. No, it's just painful to watch. It's a movie that doesn't understand the story it's trying to tell. And honestly, I just think it should never been released. I think it would have been better like that. I give it 2.5 out of 10.
Yeah, the movie takes itself super seriously. It really wants to invoke a vibe. It wants to invoke a thought, but it's honestly cheeks. It's the worst movie I've seen in a very long time. Probably the worst movie we've reviewed in this channel.
And we watched Lilo and Stitch live action remake.
But yeah, like Sergio was saying, this movie is not. It's not so bad that it's good. It's just so bad that I want to fucking pull my eyes out. I'm gonna give this movie a 1 out of 10.
If you love video game adaptations or you want to show someone a nice, powerful video game story, do not show them this. Show them like Last of Us Season 1, not 2. Show them Fallout. Show them anything else but this garbage. Now let's get into spoilers so we can really get into stuff we didn't like. So this is your spoiler warning.
Exit now. First of all, this movie does not follow the video game storyline. It is loosely adapted. It follows, like we said in the non-spoiler section, it follows certain points of the video game story, but it doesn't go fully and actually tell the video game story, if that makes sense. Silent Hill 2 is one of the richest stories in video game history. The story is so nuanced. It has so many psychological elements that you don't need to tweak it. You don't need to change anything. It's right there. But Christoph Gans, I don't know if he didn't understand the story.
I mean, clearly he didn't. First off, this guy doesn't introduce the fact that Mary's dead until like the third act of this movie. That's the whole premise of the game. As the player, you question James' sanity from the get-go. That's why seeing in the mirror where he touches his face is so significant. You question whether or not you're just on a wild goose chase or whether there's any validity to it. James doesn't even react like a normal person would to a lot of the monstrosities that he sees. And it just plays into this guy's kind of sick. He's weird. He seems more interested than frightened and scared. All the people he comes across are weird in their own way and have their own story to tell. Which, by the way, this movie pays no attention to any of the side characters, nor do they care about the significance that they play inside the story. It's crazy.
Yeah, all the characters in this movie were pretty useless. They didn't bring the story forward. They didn't help James' story. It had nothing to do with the video game. It's crazy that a video game that came out in 2001 can make greater stories than a 2026 movie. This movie felt like it was written in ChatGPT and just like, oh, but remember to add Eddie, remember to add Laura and Angela, and they were just there just to fill space. And then there's a reveal in the movie where it turns out the Maria is all of them. Every chick in this movie is her. So I guess they were trying to say that that's how James sees every chick. He's so crazy that he just sees her everywhere. But it turns out that she is everyone, and it just doesn't work. In the video game, Laura is supposed to be a little girl. She's the catalyst of what brings James and Maria's story together. It explains that she was going to be a little girl, that she was going to get adopted. They were in the same hospital. It made sense because Maria was sick. But in this movie, they didn't really explain why she was sick. They tied her into the cult, which totally ruined the whole story in my opinion. And they made Laura into like this old girl, like she literally looked like she was like a 20-year-old cosplaying as a little girl, and she would carry this baby around, and you can tell that they just added her for the horror vibes. Like, they didn't really care about her story. They didn't, nothing. They just wanted a creepy ghost girl. Same with Eddie. They just wanted a creepy fucking admin mod that was just throwing up. And then he kicks James in the gut a couple of times because James bullies him or whatever. But they didn't expand on it. He just leaves and disappears, and then they never show his fucking face again. And then let's talk about Pyramid Head too. That's another character of the video game, right? In this movie, they flat out go ahead and tell you that it's James. Well, in the video game, you assumed that it was James. And he was way more scarier in the video game because he would just follow him around and torment him, but he would purposely lead him somewhere. Where in the very end, you fight two versions of Pyramid Head and you discover that you killed Maria. But in this movie, they couldn't even do that. In this movie, Pyramid Head was just a boogeyman that occasionally showed up, And then they show you that it's James, and okay, that's cool or whatever, but they don't show any psychological element that make Pyramid Head interesting.
I mean, just like you said, the characters are just introduced just to show you, oh, remember this character from the video game, remember this scene from the video game, but they have no significance to the plot. Think about it, as someone who has never played the games, who are these people? Why should we care about them? Where do they come from? What even happens to them at the end? Well, actually, you find out that all of them were Maria, but it's like, okay, then maybe you could have maybe had an interesting take on that, right? Like, oh, maybe psychologically James sees women also, but like, no, they couldn't really even explore that. Instead, they just made her Mexican and named her like
Maria Laura Angela Sunderland de la Cruz.
That's the twist, James. Didn't you know? Your wife is 4 bitches.
Remember, Sam, niggas be named James, and it be only one nigga.
Cause they got that like dollar store, like 25-year-old trying to do like an orphan gimmick, but way worse. And then on top of that too, Angela, I actually felt personally offended by how bad they treated Angela. They completely take their story, wipe their ass with it, and throw it in the trash. They don't expand on it. Nothing. You don't ever get the scene where she sees everything on fire. You don't get a powerful boss. I mean, you get to see like Big Daddy, but there's no references. They're just like, oh, remember this from the video game. There's none of the impact and symbolism behind anything. It's just shallow.
I want to add a little bit on Angela. It's kind of like how we were saying, right? It feels like Christoph Gans is trying to tell a psychological aspect of the story that James maybe is a womanizer, and he sees every woman as Maria as a way of like the way that he would talk to her in some scenes. It was very like he's not very good with his anger. He lets his anger out pretty easily. And to give him credit, at least I could understand what he was going at in that sense. But it's a slap in the face that the video game just did it way better with Angela. If you wanted to tell a psychological story where women are impacted in everyday life, you could have told a somber, a serious, a horrific story with Angela. How she was abused by her dad, how she was abused by her brother, how she, despite being a good person, is stuck in this limbo forever because she killed her abuser. It's just like real life, right? Like many women who kill their abusers go to jail. It's a horrific scene. And that's what makes Silent Hill so deep. But this movie strips it of all that. And they show Abstract Daddy as the last fight or whatever. But it loses every single emotional impact that the video game had. In this movie, it just felt like a cheap inclusion just to be like, oh look, it's the Abstract Daddy. Ah, fuck this movie.
This movie does a lot of telling. Doesn't show you. It's not subtle about a lot of the themes it's trying to go for and the main story's trying to tell. It smacks you in the face directly with anything that could have been interesting or thought-provoking as a viewer to contemplate on. No, it just tells you directly certain things that might be left up in the air or ambiguous. No, it tells you everything except for the stuff that does matter. The shit that actually like does matter, all the side stuff, they completely just ignore, just brush over it. They don't even bother telling any of the significance behind anything. Like they spoon feed you everything except for the shit that really matters. Because if you don't know the game of Silent Hill, you'll be genuinely fucking confused on what the fuck is going on. Actually, they include some elements like where James is jumping between real life reality and Silent Hill, but it made no sense. It just made that shit way more complicated. They overcomplicate things, just like the cult too. I feel like that inclusion shouldn't have been in the movie. I feel like they tried to tie extra shit, but Silent Hill 2 was never about the cult and never centered around it. There was hints about it, but they try to dive real deep into it and make, turns out Maria was one of the cult members. Like, I get the fuck out of here. Like, to me, it missed the point of the entire story. It just felt completely off mark.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the inclusion of a cult was extremely fucking stupid. He missed the whole point of the story. I mean, I don't understand why he had to overcomplicate it and have to write in a reason on why James and Maria fell out of love or they broke up or whatever. Like, it could have been the very realistic reason that Maria was just falling sick. And when people get very sick, they lose themselves, especially if it's terminal. And you could have added so many scenes where James is trying to be a supportive and loving husband, but he just can't, because little by little she starts lashing out at him. You can explore the psychological damage of a person that's about to die. But no, he wrote in a cult to add shock value, to explain why James left, and it makes James look like he did nothing wrong, like he's the perfect protagonist, like he's the, oh, poor James, he's being tormented, oh. But in the fucking video game, he's a piece of shit. Yeah, maybe he did it for a reason, maybe he wanted his life back, but that's why it impacts you so much, because it is something that he did, and Silent Hill, for better or worse, is forcing him to realize that.
Honestly, this movie is not worth this much time and effort. Go play the Silent Hill 2 video game. We're out. Deuces.
Fuck you, Christoph Gans.